2 Samuel chapter 14. Now Joab the son of Zeruiah perceived that the king's heart was inclined toward Absalom, and Joab sent to Tekoa and brought from there a wise woman and said to her, I pray you, pretend yourself to be a mourner and put on now mourning apparel and anoint not yourself with oil, but be as a woman that has had a long time mourn for the dead, and come to the king and speak in this way to him. So Joab put the words in her mouth, and when the woman of Tekoa spoke to the king, she fell on her face to the ground and showed respect and said, Help, O king. And the king said to her, What ails you? And she answered, I am indeed a widow woman, and my husband is dead. And your handmaid had 2 sons, and they fought together in the field. And there was none to part them, but the one struck the other and slew him. And behold, the whole family is risen against your handmaid. And they said, Deliver him that smote his brother, that we may kill him for the life of his brother whom he slew, and we will destroy the heir also. And so they shall destroy the last of my family which is left, and shall not leave to my husband neither name nor remainder upon the earth. And the king said to the woman, Go to your house, and I will give instruction concerning you. And the woman of Tekoa said to the king, My lord, O king, the iniquity be on me and on my father's house, and the king's and his throne be guiltless. And the king said, Whosoever says anything to you, bring him to me, and he shall not touch you any more. Then said she, I pray you, let the king remember the Lord your God, that you would not follow the avengers of blood to destroy any more, lest they destroy my son. And he said, As the Lord lives, there shall not one hair of your son fall to the earth. Then the woman said, Let your handmaid, I pray you, speak one word to my lord the king. And he said, Say on. And the woman said, Wherefore, when have you thought such a thing against the people of God? For the king does speak this thing as one which is faulty, in that the king does not bring home again his banished. For we must needs die, and are as water spilt on the ground, which cannot be gathered up again. Neither does God respect any person, yet does he devise means that his banished be not expelled from him. Now therefore that I am come to speak of this thing to my lord the king, it is because the people have made me afraid. And your handmaid said, I will now speak to the king. It may be that the king will perform the request of his handmaid, for the king will hear to deliver his handmaid out of the hand of the man that would destroy me and my son together out of the inheritance of God. Then your handmaid said, The word of my lord the king shall now be comfortable, for as an angel of God, so is my lord the king to discern good and bad. Therefore the Lord your God will be with you. And then the king answered and said to the woman, Hide not from me, I pray you, the thing that I shall ask you. And the woman said, Let my lord the king now speak. And the king said, Is not the hand of Joab with you in all this? And the woman answered and said, As your soul lives, my lord the king, none can turn to the right hand nor to the left. Anything that my lord the king has spoken for your servant Joab, he urged me and put all these words in the mouth of your handmaid. To bring about this form of speech has your servant Joab done this thing, and my lord is wise, according to the wisdom of an angel of God, to know all things that are on the earth. And the king said to Joab, Behold, now I have done this thing. Go therefore, bring the young man Absalom again. And Joab fell to the ground on his face and bowed himself and thanked the king. And Joab said, Today your servant knows that I have found grace in your sight, my lord, O king, and that the king has fulfilled their quest of his servant. So Joab arose and went to Geshur and brought Absalom to Jerusalem. And the king said, Let him turn to his own house, and let him not see my face. So Absalom returned to his own house and saw not the king's face. But in all Israel there was none to be so much praised as Absalom for his beauty, from the sole of his foot even to the crown of his head. there was no blemish in him. And when he shaved his head, for it was at every year's end that he shaved it, because the hair was heavy on him, therefore he shaved it. He weighed the hair of his head 200 shekels after the king's weight, and Absalom there were born 3 sons and 1 daughter, whose name was Tamar. She was a woman of fair countenance. So Absalom dwelled 2 full years in Jerusalem, and saw not the king's face. Therefore Absalom sent for Joab to have him to have set him to the king, but he would not come to him. And when he sent again the second time, he would not come. Therefore he said to his servant, See, Joab's field is near mine, and he has barley there. Go and set it on fire. And Absalom's servants set the field on fire. Then Joab arose and came to Absalom to his house, and said to him, Why have your servants set my field on fire? And Absalom answered Joab, Behold, I sent to you, saying, Come here, that I may send you to the king to say, Wherefore am I come to Geshur? It had been good for me to have been there still. Now, therefore, let me see the king's face, and if there be any iniquity in me, let him kill me. So Joab came to the king and told him, and when he had called for Absalom, he came to the king and bowed himself on his face to the ground before the king. And the king kissed Absalom.